Horrible news for Mercedes after upgrades. Mercedes just can't catch a break. They expected a fresh start and a wave of good news. However, fate had a different plan in store for them, unveiling yet another disappointment. As their highly anticipated upgrades were unveiled, showcasing massive changes to the sidepot design, the floor, and a plethora of other enhancements, the team held their breath. Toto Wolff, the shrewd team principal, cautiously withheld his verdict, claiming that this race wasn't the ultimate litmus test. Yet amidst the uncertainty, a voice emerged from within their ranks. George Russell, the rising star, had his own thoughts to share. Let's take a look. The highly anticipated and prestigious Grand Prix finally arrived, captivating audiences with its spectacular display. The race proceeded smoothly, with teams maintaining a steady pace. However, the atmosphere suddenly shifted when rain began to pour down on the track. Amidst the excitement, all eyes were on the Mercedes team and their highly anticipated new upgrades. Unfortunately, despite the heightened expectations and numerous modifications made, Mercedes fell short of the anticipated breakthrough. Their performance, while slightly altered, yielded results that were strikingly similar to their previous races. Despite the team's best efforts and the significant changes they implemented, the outcome remained disappointingly consistent. George Russell candidly asserts that despite Mercedes' introduction of new sidepods at the F1 Monaco Grand Prix, they have failed to deliver the desired performance. However, he has shed light on where the true magic lies. In their pursuit of significant improvements, Mercedes has unveiled a range of upgrades in Monte Carlo, notably adopting a sidepod philosophy reminiscent of Red Bull's. Russell and Lewis Hamilton are hopeful that Monaco will mark the beginning of a new chapter wherein the revamped W14 can once again contend with the likes of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Regarding the upgrades, Russell expressed satisfaction, stating, "Things are working as expected with no real concerns. We've made substantial additions to the car, including an aero package and new suspension, all of which are performing as anticipated. I see no reason why we won't achieve the desired performance in Barcelona, resulting in a small leap forward. However, it's worth noting that Aston Martin has also introduced upgrades, so the entire field is progressing." Russell emphasized the importance of remaining steadfast in one's beliefs, noting, "Sometimes you have to stick with what you believe in, and sometimes the best course of action is to build upon your foundations. However, we also wanted to explore and rule out certain possibilities. The sidepods, although inspired by Red Bull's concept, haven't necessarily contributed to any additional performance. The real magic lies beneath the surface, particularly underneath the floor. Nonetheless, we had to go through the process of elimination, and now we can move forward." The revised floor design was showcased when Hamilton experienced a crash during practice, resulting in his car being lifted high into the air by a crane. Toto Wolff, the team principal of Mercedes, playfully likened it to a circus act. Wolff is eager to gain further insights into the team's latest upgrades in Monaco and Spain in the coming weeks as they continue to fine-tune their revised concepts. The key differentiating factor lies in Mercedes' decision to abandon their previous zero-pod strategy in favor of adopting the approach employed by Red Bull. This shift in approach holds significant importance. Toto Wolff delivered a sobering assessment of Mercedes' progress, highlighting the stark contrast between their performance at the Monaco Grand Prix last year and this year. He described the previous season's W13 as awful, while acknowledging that the current W14 is not good. Mercedes unveiled their new W14 at the Monaco Grand Prix, featuring significant changes such as replacing the zero-pod concept with bulkier side pods. Additionally, the team incorporated a new front suspension, cooling system, and floor into their design. While the car met expectations by not being the elusive silver bullet that Wolff had previously mentioned, it fell short of propelling the team into contention for pole position or a race victory. However, there was a noticeable improvement, closing the gap between last year's Monaco qualifying session, where George Russell trailed the pole position by 0.7 of a second, and this year's qualifying, where Lewis Hamilton was less than 0.4 behind. During the Grand Prix, Hamilton secured a 4th place finish, with Russell closely behind in 5th. This performance allowed the teammates to narrow the gap with Aston Martin to just 1 point in the Constructors' Championship standings. Assessing their performance at Monaco, Toto Wolff admitted the difficulty in making a conclusive evaluation, considering their competition with Aston Martin and Ferrari. However, he found encouragement in the fact that Mercedes had never performed exceptionally well at this circuit in the past. With a difference of only 3/10 from pole position compared to 6/10 the previous year when their car was deemed awful, there was a discernible improvement according to the driver's feedback. Nonetheless, Wolff emphasized the need for caution, acknowledging that they still have work to do. Barcelona will serve as a crucial test for the new W14, providing valuable data and establishing a new baseline. Wolff tempered expectations, suggesting that surpassing Aston Martin and Ferrari in Barcelona might not be realistic. Instead, their focus lies in understanding the behavior of the new car and determining the optimal setup. Drawing on their ability to persevere and grind away at development, he highlighted their previous success in winning races, even with a less impressive package. The Mercedes team principal expressed confidence that the W14 will be better suited to proper circuits characterized by mid to high-speed corners. He observed that their performance in FP1 and FP2 had been relatively stronger compared to the rest of the weekend. However, as the track conditions evolve and grip levels increase, they face challenges in maintaining competitiveness. Currently, they are in a phase of extensive learning, gathering crucial data and making necessary adjustments to optimize the car's performance. Another interesting moment during the Monaco GP weekend happened. Ted Kravitz had the opportunity to closely examine the flaws of both the Mercedes and Red Bull cars, and he was astounded by what he saw. As Lewis Hamilton crashed into the barrier at Mirabeau during final practice, and Sergio Perez met a similar fate at Saint-Devote in the opening qualifying segment, both cars were lifted into the air on cranes, providing a perfect view for rival teams and photographers. Kravitz, acknowledging the ground effect aerodynamics employed in Formula 1, which relies on the downforce generated by the floor and its vortexes, couldn't help but compare the Red Bull floor to its prehistoric rivals. He marveled at the differences he observed, suggesting that it was no surprise that the Red Bull RB19 is consistently performing at a high level, winning races and championships. According to Kravitz, the contrast between the intricacies of the Red Bull floor and those of the Mercedes further clarified why Red Bull has been so successful. The close-up view of the floors provided valuable insight into the aerodynamic designs of both teams, highlighting the significance of the floor in generating downforce. This revelation served to underscore the importance of the Red Bull floor and its contribution to the team's impressive performance in Formula 1. During his post-race analysis on Sky Sports, Ted Kravitz credited Sergio Perez for providing the entire Formula 1 community with a glimpse of the renowned Red Bull floor. He encouraged viewers to explore the internet and marvel at its impressive design, especially when comparing it to the floors of Mercedes and Ferrari, which were also exposed while hanging from cranes during the weekend. Kravitz described the floors of the Mercedes and Ferrari as looking prehistoric in comparison. He highlighted the intricate details of the Red Bull floor, which exhibited complexity in 3 dimensions. The elements descended, curled around, and featured circles where vortices began and were generated midway through the floor. The area under the crash structure and gearbox was also utilized effectively. Comparing the images, Kravitz emphasized why the Red Bull RB19 has been so successful, much to the dismay of its rivals. However, Dave Robson, the head of vehicle performance at Williams, cautioned against assuming that teams can easily replicate the complexity of the Red Bull floor simply by observing it. He explained that the intricacies of the design were difficult to comprehend in 2D photos due to their curved nature, making it challenging to decipher the precise construction techniques employed by Red Bull. Meanwhile, Aston Martin's performance director, Tom McCulloch, expressed keen interest in examining the wear on the plank of the RB19's floor. Assessing this aspect would provide valuable insights into the performance characteristics of the car. He acknowledged that many aerodynamicists throughout the pit lane would be eagerly studying the images of the lifted cars to gain further knowledge. McCulloch also emphasized the desire to keep their own car from being exposed in such a manner, as aerodynamicists prefer to keep their designs confidential. The sight of the exposed floors generated significant excitement among aerodynamic specialists who recognized the opportunity to learn from the visible wear patterns and contact points. The gathered information would contribute to their ongoing research and development efforts. What are your thoughts on Mercedes upgrades? Let us know in the comments below.